Milan Momcilovic may have been the difference between this being Mark Pope's last season at Kentucky and Mark Pope proving he can be Kentucky's long-term answer. That sounds dramatic, but look at where Kentucky was before Momcilovic became available. Pope and his staff had spent months chasing Tyran Stokes, the #1 recruit in the 2026 class. Stokes was from Louisville, had been connected to Kentucky for years, and looked like the kind of player who could immediately become the face of the program. He had the body, athleticism, highlights, and NBA upside that usually make Kentucky fans dream about another one-and-done star. Instead, Stokes chose Kansas. At first, it felt like a huge failure. Kentucky had spent a lot of time and attention on that recruitment, and losing the best high school player in the country hurt even more because he was from the state. Stokes would not have been just another 5-star. He would have been the player who proved Pope could go head-to-head with anybody and win a major battle. Kentucky also missed on several transfer targets. Rob Wright returned to BYU. Donnie Freeman chose St. John's. Jalen Harrelson ended up at Tennessee. The Wildcats added useful players, but the roster still lacked a proven star who could completely change how opponents had to defend Kentucky. Before Momcilovic committed, the feeling around the roster was that Kentucky might be a decent top 25 team. There was enough talent to win games, but there was no clear reason to believe the Wildcats were ready to make a Final Four run. That is not enough in Lexington, especially with the pressure already building around Pope. Then, Momcilovic changed the entire offseason. Almost immediately, Kentucky went from being viewed as a team near the edge of the top 25 to a team appearing around the top 15, with some advanced projections pushing the Wildcats close to the top 10. One commitment changed the way people viewed the roster, the coaching staff, and the direction of the program. Missing on Stokes may have also opened the door for Kentucky to land the better fit. Nobody outside the program knows exactly how much Kentucky's money was divided, so it would be dishonest to say the Wildcats definitely could not have afforded both players. But Stokes would have required a massive financial commitment. If Kentucky had landed him early, would it have still been able to make the same aggressive offer to Momcilovic later? Maybe, but there is no guarantee. That matters because Momcilovic's NIL package was reportedly worth more than $6 million. That put him among the highest-paid players in college basketball and possibly among the highest-paid athletes in all of college sports. Kentucky did not pay that kind of money for another solid rotation piece. The Wildcats paid it because they believed Momcilovic could change the ceiling of the entire team. Louisville wanted him. Arizona was involved. St. John showed interest. Momcilovic was viewed as one of the top 2 or 3 transfers in the country, and some services had him ranked #1 overall. The connection to Tyler Herro also mattered. Momcilovic grew up in Wisconsin and played AAU basketball for Team Herro, the program connected to Tyler and coached by Tyler's father, Chris Herro. The Herro family had known his game for years. Chris Herro even tried to get Kentucky involved when John Calipari was still coaching the Wildcats, but the offer never came. Years later, when Momcilovic was deciding where to finish his college career, Herro reportedly called him and told him to go to Kentucky. Herro did not make the decision for him. The money, role, and offensive fit all mattered, but that call gave Kentucky a trusted voice in the recruitment. Herro was also an easy example for Momcilovic to look at. He was another skilled shooter from Wisconsin who came to Kentucky, played on the biggest stage in college basketball, and turned that season into an NBA lottery selection. The timing of the recruitment also worked in Kentucky's favor. After a huge junior season at Iowa State, Momcilovic entered the 2026 NBA draft while also putting his name in the transfer portal. He was not simply testing the process for attention. He had a real chance to be drafted and seriously considered staying in. He shot extremely well during the combine process and private workouts. That part was expected. NBA teams already knew he could shoot. The concerns were about defense, quickness, and whether he could do enough outside of shooting to justify a first-round pick. The feedback reportedly placed him somewhere near the end of the first round or the beginning of the second. That left him with a choice. He could stay in the draft and risk slipping into the second round where the financial security is lower, or he could return to college, accept a guaranteed NIL deal worth millions, and spend another season improving the weaknesses holding back his draft stock. Once Kentucky's offer passed $6 million, the decision became much easier. Momcilovic withdrew from the draft and chose the Wildcats. Kentucky essentially gave him first-round level money without the risk of sliding in the draft. In return, Pope landed one of the most proven offensive players in college basketball. Stokes may still have more raw NBA upside. He is stronger with the ball, more explosive at the rim, and more capable of creating something from nothing. But he is still a freshman who has to prove how his game translates to college basketball. Momcilovic brings much less guessing. Kentucky is getting a 6'8", roughly 225-pound senior who has played more than 100 college games, spent 3 seasons in the Big 12, and just completed one of the greatest shooting seasons in college basketball history. He averaged 16.9 points per game for Iowa State, while shooting 50.6% from the field, 48.7% from three, and 87.8% from the free throw line. He made 136 threes on 279 attempts and became the first Division I player to lead the country in both total three-pointers made and three-point percentage during the same season. The volume is what makes it so impressive. Momcilovic was not taking 2 open threes per game and protecting his percentage. He attempted around 7.5 every night, while opposing coaches built their game plan around stopping him. Everybody knew where he wanted to shoot, and it still did not matter. His path started in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, where he became one of the most productive players in the state. During his 4 varsity seasons, Pewaukee won 3 straight state championships and finished as the runner-up in the other year. His teams went 106-14. Momcilovic left as the school's career leader in points, rebounds, and assists. As a senior, he averaged more than 23 points and 10 rebounds, recorded 5 40-point games, and scored a career-high 46. He was named Wisconsin Mr. Basketball, but he still was not viewed as a perfect modern prospect. The concern was athleticism. Momcilovic was not extremely fast, did not have a powerful first step, and was not jumping over defenders. His game was built on footwork, balance, size, and touch. That was not the type of prospect Kentucky normally chased under Calipari. Iowa State focused on what he could do. T.J. Otzelberger gave Momcilovic a clear role and trusted him immediately. He started all 37 games as a freshman, averaged 10.9 points, and made 61 threes. He only shot 35.9% from deep, but he proved he could handle the physical style of the Big 12 and stay on the floor for one of the best defensive teams in the country. As a sophomore, he increased his scoring to 11.5 points and raised his three-point percentage to 39.6. A hand injury caused him to miss 7 games, but he still made 63 threes. The talent was obvious. The problem was consistency. When Momcilovic felt comfortable, he could completely change a game. When he began thinking too much, the misses could pile up. That happened in Iowa State's NCAA tournament loss to Ole Miss when he went 2 for 12 from the field and 1 for 8 from 3. Instead of rebuilding his shooting form, he changed what was happening in his head. Momcilovic had started thinking about every detail of his shot. His feet, elbow, wrist, and release were all running through his mind while the ball was leaving his hands. Working with his father and a mental performance coach, he came up with a strange solution. Every time he began his shooting motion, he would think of one word: jelly bean. The word had nothing to do with basketball. That was the point. Thinking about jelly beans stopped him from thinking about his mechanics and allowed muscle memory to take over. The results were unbelievable. His three-point percentage jumped by more than 9 points. He made multiple threes in 32 of Iowa State's 37 games and had 11 games with at least 5 makes. From December 21st through January 24th, he scored 20 or more points in 6 of 8 games, while averaging around 24 points and shooting close to 60% from 3. He scored 27 against Long Beach State and made 7 of 9 threes. He scored 26 against West Virginia and made 8 of 10. Against Cincinnati, he finished with a career-high 34 points, made 8 of 14 from deep, and attempted 10 free throws. In the Big 12 tournament against Arizona, he scored 28 and made another 8 threes. Against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, he started slowly but eventually scored 20 points and made 4 threes as Iowa State beat the Wildcats 82-63. A few months later, the player who helped end Kentucky's season was joining the program. The confidence is one of the best parts of his game. Momcilovic can miss his first 3 or 4 attempts and still shoot the next one with the exact same motion. Some shooters begin hesitating after a few misses. Momcilovic does not. If the shot is available, it is going up. His advanced shooting numbers make the season look even crazier. He shot around 48.6% on spot-up opportunities, 44.9% in transition, 45.5% coming off screens, and 48.3% after handoffs. He made close to 49% of his off-the-dribble threes and nearly 55% of his uncontested catch-and-shoot attempts. He also made around 49% from NBA three-point range. That matters because it pulls the defense several feet farther from the basket. A defender cannot stand near the college line and assume Momcilovic is out of range. If he is comfortable 2 or 3 feet behind it, the defender has to follow him. He was also excellent late in possessions. When the shot clock dropped below 10 seconds, Momcilovic still made more than half of his threes. That gives Kentucky a player who can save a broken possession without needing to dribble through the entire defense. Marino may benefit more than anybody from this addition. Pope can use him as an offensive hub near the top of the floor. He can hand the ball off, find cutters, or attack slower centers. With Momcilovic moving around him, the defense has to make difficult choices. If the defender goes under the handoff, Momcilovic shoots. If the defender chases over the top, Momcilovic can curl into the lane or cut behind him. If the opposing center steps toward Momcilovic, Moreno can roll toward the basket. If another defender helps, Kentucky can kick the ball to an open shooter. This is the kind of offense Pope has been trying to build. Momcilovic's presence should also make life easier for Zoom Diallo and Alex Wilkins. Both are expected to be downhill creators who want to get into the lane. Without elite shooting, defenses could crowd the paint and make every drive difficult. Pope has reportedly told Momcilovic that he does not want him shooting 48% again. That sounds ridiculous until you understand what he means. Pope wants more attempts. If Momcilovic's percentage falls from nearly 49 to 42 or 43 because he is taking 9 or 10 threes per game, Kentucky will gladly accept it. Making 4 out of 10 produces more points than making 3 out of 6, and the extra attempts force the defense to deal with his movement all night. That gives him a serious chance to rewrite Kentucky's record book. Jody Meeks holds the school record with 117 made threes. Jamal Murray made 113, and Malik Monk made 104. Momcilovic made 136 at Iowa State last season. If he stays healthy and receives the volume Pope wants, he should break the record. The NBA comparison that makes sense is Sam Hauser. Hauser became an important rotation player because he is a tall movement shooter who spaces the floor, runs off screens, and rarely makes major mistakes. Momcilovic has a similar size and shooting profile. Milan Momcilovic did not just give Kentucky another good player. He changed the view of the offseason, gave Pope's offense its missing piece, and created a real path toward Kentucky becoming a Final Four level team. He may break the school's three-point record. He may lead Kentucky in scoring. He may play himself into the first round. But the biggest thing he can do is give the Wildcats an identity. When Moreno catches the ball at the top of the floor, everybody will be watching Momcilovic move. When Diallo attacks the lane, the defense will have to decide whether stopping the drive is worth leaving the best shooter in the country. Every opponent will know the problem. Solving it will be much harder. Mark Pope needed a recruiting win that could change the direction of the program. Kentucky reportedly spent more than $6 million to make sure he got it. Now Milan Momcilovic has the chance to prove he was worth every dollar.